Okay, once again, this is Minister Jackson and Minister Jackson. uh, this is the second segment, of course, topics. That's the name of this program, topics. I failed to mention that earlier, and I do apologize for that, but this is topics. And we're talking today about parenting in today's society. And we left off with the question, do you think parents are more afraid of man's law or God's law, correct? And then you got into talking about how to raise a child and uh, how they throw things up in our face and things that we've done in the past and thinking that that's supposed to give them the permission to do the same. And I thought about something, and I want to start back with this on that same topic, and then we'll move on to question number 3. But you know, we talked about uh, the road to life, the broad road and the narrow road. We talked about the example, living the example, but also teaching by that same example. And then I thought about this. You know, when we're on, we talked about the destination, right? The destination is supposed to be the kingdom, glory. Well, when we are trying to go somewhere, whether we're looking at GPS or whether we know the route, we make a mistake and make a wrong turn. You know, making a wrong turn in life doesn't necessarily exempt us from our destination. Making a wrong turn doesn't mean we're not going to eventually get to where we were going. But when we make a wrong turn in life, when we're driving or whatever the case may be, when we make a wrong turn, what do? We somehow we get back on track. We get back on track. We find that right way, and then we get back on track until we reach our destination. And I wanted to say that a lot of times people fall and won't get up. They make a wrong turn. Yeah, that's right. They stay down. They fall and won't get up. They fall and stay down. That's that wrong turn or that wrong decision, that wrong choice, the wrong set of circumstances that they have built in their lives that has caused them to even now lose trust in God. Once you lose trust in God, keeping His laws is almost inevitable to not do them. So I wanted to bring that out, and I wanted to say this to the world, really, that making a wrong turn in life does not exempt us from our destination. All we have to do is get back on track. Like Donna McClurkin said, we fall down, but we get up. And that should be, or should I say, that should be the attitude of man. Question number 3 here. I have a question here that says, do you think, now we need to listen to this carefully. I'm keeping track of time here, the reason I keep watching my watch, public. But this is question number 3, and we need to listen to this carefully because it says, do you think the laws that govern the lack of discipline in our schools, communities, and the home is a deliberate attempt to destroy our children? If so, how do we fix it? Now I'm going to read it again. Do you think the laws that govern the lack of discipline in our schools, communities, and the home is a deliberate attempt to destroy our children in today's society? If so, how do we fix it?
Number one, I have to really, we have to like, govern our own kids, our own home, our own community. I was, I was thinking about this question earlier. Um, you start in the home first. Now, I think that it is set up for our kids to fail. I'm just gonna answer that. I'm gonna put that out there. That don't touch your kids, don't whoop your kids law. Yeah, I think it is set up for our kids today. I'm talking about our black kids. I ain't, you know what? I'm just gonna put it out there. I think it is set up for that. But we can't, like you was talking about, we can't be afraid of these laws. We have to do what we have to do in our house, in our home. We have to do what we need to do for our kids. We get out there and work for them. You know what I'm saying? We buy their clothes. We feed them. You know, we make sure they get back and forth to school. So no, if you allow them to govern, then that's your problem. But I did think it's set up for our kids to fail. But if you allow that, then that's your problem. You have to fix your home. The community is so jacked up. For its community, period, is jacked up. People don't want you saying that to their kid. They be out there throwing bottles and rocks and hit folk windows and all that right there, man. I know you done seen that before.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and if you say something to them, they run and tell their mamas, now here come their mama. You know what I'm saying? Well, your child was throwing rocks at my window, man, you know, and here's a big argument. See, we got to stick together in the community. And for the school thing, we need to bring prayer back in the school. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Simply that, that's what we used to say in school. They used to get on the intercom. They done took it out. It was one person. And the principal spanked all of us one day. And it was one person that went to the Board of Education and told them that they need to take, this is what I hear, that they need to stop all that praying and stuff in school. And I swear it didn't take them but a second to stop.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Didn't nobody fight. Yeah, we ain't gonna.
Well, she's a well-known name, you know.
Yeah, didn't nobody stand up for what was right. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I think he's designed, but we can't allow it.
Yeah.
Regardless of what they say, because we already know it's set up for our kids to fail. You ain't got no business putting your hand on this my child. And I'm not blacking his eyes and all that. I'm just giving him a good old fashioned butt whoop, just like I've been saying. You know. So it started in your home, man. It's up to you. And I did answer the question, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
I mean, yeah, I think it is set up for that.
No, absolutely.
But it's up to us as parents, as a community. And for the school thing, they need to get prayer back in the school, man, because it's never been. I done heard of school shooting. People get in a good fight, and that was over with. But now it's so many school shootings now. You take God out of school, everything. You know, just get over the PA system, the intercom, or whatever you call it, and do the Lord's Prayer like it used to be. They done took that out of there. They singing the Star Spangled Banner. I didn't even know that was a gospel song, man. They got it in the hymn book. Yeah. Like, you serious? But you singing that over, man, listen. Get on that radio, but we got to speak up. Yeah. We can't let these people govern us, man. That goes all the way back in biblical time when God said, I will govern y'all. All you got to do is keep my commandments. Yeah. That's what he said, didn't he?
Yeah, where there's love, there is no law.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Yeah. Because love make you do the right thing, right?
Yeah, love make you do the right thing. Yeah. Okay.
But, you know, I agree with that answer. And one of the reasons I wanted to bring that question out is because those are my sentiments exactly. I strongly and truly believe that the system is designed to deliberately destroy our children. And we're going to look at how to fix it. But I want to say this. We talked a little bit about this earlier. You can go to jail if society deem, and I want to use the word beat your child. But the police can beat them. I'm the one taking care of that child. I'm the one paying the rent. I'm buying the food. I'm buying the clothes. I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to do. As a matter of fact, you are my child. But society is saying, and we're moving more and more toward the non-whooping society, because they are now calling it a form of abuse. Assault. You assault your children when you whoop them like that. You are assaulting them. But if you have rules and regulations in your home and your children are breaking those rules and regulations, the very laws that I set up in my kingdom, in my camp where I pay the bills, if you disobey those, to me, to not discipline that, we talked about this earlier, that's a lack of love. That's a lack of love. But now the very laws that society have set up, Congress, I'm going to call them out. The laws that Congress and all of them have set up, the lawmakers. If you break their laws, the police have the right to not only put their hands on you, but if you continue to resist, they have the right to beat you. And if you resist too wrong, they have the right to kill you. Now, we're not thinking about killing our children. We're just trying to discipline them. But we can go to jail for disciplining them. But the police have the right to beat them or kill them if they resist in that wrong way. And it's all about having broke some law that society have formed. But if they break the laws that we have formed in our household, then there's a problem. So I have a problem with that. And I also want to say this. Satan came to kill, steal, and destroy. So if we don't have God in our home, a house divided against itself will not stand anyway. So if Satan is in your home, and you know if Satan is in there or not, if crack in your house, Satan there. The Bible talks about the solid rock. Who is the solid rock? Jesus Christ. But then society brought a crack rock. What good is a crack rock? A crack rock ain't no good. It serves no purpose. But we have a crack rock in society. If you got a crack rock in your house instead of the solid rock, Satan is in your home. If you have stolen items in your home from where your children have been kicking doors in, bringing stolen goods into your home, Satan is in your home. If your children are beating you and whooping you and chastising you instead of you whooping and chastising them, Satan is in your home. So we know if Satan is in our home or not, whether we want to admit it or not. It's all about souls. It's all about the Spirit of God or the Spirit of Satan. The Spirit of God have angels. The Spirit of Satan have angels. But the one thing we call the angels that God have are the good angels, and the one thing that we call the angels that Satan have are demons. People got demons in their home, and they are allowing it because they are afraid or they lack the necessary skills to discipline it, or whatever the case may be, as we spoke about earlier. But there's a way to fix it. Sometimes a society or a thing have gotten so bad or so out of control that you might not be able to do nothing about that one, but then the next generation coming along can be helped or can be saved. And how do you fix it? Once again, I'm going to read the question before we go on to question number 4. It says, do you think the laws that govern the lack of discipline in our schools, communities, and our home is a deliberate attempt to destroy our children in today's society? If so, how do we fix it? With the Word. The world says one thing, but the Word say another. And y'all heard me say this before. If you take the word, God's Word, if you take the word, and write it, W-O-R-D, and write it on a board, and we're talking about God's Word. Now we know that God's Word tells us to be ye in the world, but not of it. Be ye in the world, but not of it. Now, we can take that word, W-O-R-D, we can take that word, and turn it into the world. Now, how do we do that? We allow Satan to draw that line between God and the Word that separates us from God, that separates us from the Word. Now, how do he do that? I've said this before. When you take the word word, W-R-D, and you draw that line between the R and the D, now you got world. When you draw that line between the R and the D, now you got W-O-R-L-D, which is world. And now that's where the destruction sets in. And people are being destroyed by the world because they are not clinging to the word. And the government is part of that world. The government, what did Michael Jackson say? They don't really care about us. They don't. They don't really care about us. They want to destroy our children, but not only that, they have to destroy the parents first. The only way a household of children can be destroyed is if Satan have put his demons and you allow them as the man, and men are not controlling their homes anymore. I'm a general contractor. I can't count the times I went to homes and the husband told me to talk to the boss. Now, I wanted to say I thought I was. But you don't disrespect the people you're trying to get the job. So you don't disrespect the husband by saying, well, hey, I thought I was talking to the boss. Not necessarily the boss, but I thought I was talking to the head of the household. And then turn around and tell me she running things. Oh, she running this. And we have a lack of men in the world today. And that's another reason why we don't have that strong male figure in the home to put that foot down to raise the concern in the kids instead of raising the concern in the parents. Because when you got a man in the house that know how to put his foot down, now who's concerned? Those kids are concerned now. But before that, who's concerned? The parent. They're concerned whether or not the child going to slap them down if they say something to them. If you're going to tear up my house, start throwing things around if I say something to you. If you're going to pitch a fit or throw a tantrum if I say something to you about coming in my house at 3 o'clock in the morning. With a bag full of stolen stuff.
You got the fathers, man, they smoking weed with their sons.
Oh, yeah.
15 years old, you need to be trying to guide him in another direction. But the thing is, he ain't changed.
Yeah.
He ain't been transformed yet. So now, the son ain't following behind him, he following behind his son.
Yeah.
All they paying sagging.
Yeah.
I know that's another thing right there.
But hey, you can talk about the sagging pants because I don't like it either.
I know that's another segment, but they smoking weed together, they out there cussing and telling lies. These fathers doing this now. They doing it.
Yeah.
Chasing women with their kids.
Yeah, with their kids. Why would you train a kid in that way? I got something else scripture, but I'm not gonna go there. I think the next question is what the scripture I got. But you have fathers that they not training their boys right. You know.
Do you think a lot of it have to do with that father having not been trained right by his father?
That's a lot. It has a lot to do with it. You know, but
like a generational curse, so to speak.
You know, I'm gonna tell you though. My dad used my dad used to put that belt on my backside. He did. You know, that's how I do mine. I just put that belt on their backside. But one time, and I'm gonna say this, he might look at this and be mad, but one time we smoked some weed. You know, but I think he felt kind of bad for that, and we only did it one time. I think he felt kind of bad for that. But fathers you don't do that with your kids. You know.
No, you don't.
We got enough of that in the world, man. You don't do that with your kids. Father, please, pull your pants up, man. Please. Yeah. Walk around. Don't nobody want to see your underwear, man. But you look around and look at these fathers, man. They doing the same thing, man.
It's a reason why they call it underwear, right?
Yeah. Oh man, won't you just come outside with your underwear on? You got your pants pulled way down there.
Yeah.
But the fathers doing the same thing. Some, not all of them.
Yeah.
You know, you got some real fathers out there that's trying to do what they supposed to do for their families. But a lot of them, they doing exactly what their kids do. They doing exactly what their teenage sons do. Same thing.
Yeah.
Look around, dudes be walking in, they be walking together. You don't know who the dad is. It look like brothers walking up in there.
Yeah.
Friends. Man, come on.
You know, I was at the gas station standing behind a gentleman who had to at least be my age or somewhere close to it. And I'm not ashamed to say I'm in my 60s. But that was a gentleman, I want to say gentleman, I want to believe that something was in him that was gentlemanly. But I'm standing behind this guy who's gray-headed, somewhere probably close to my age, and his whole rear end was out. His pants were sagging so bad, his whole rear end was out. And he had on red underwears, and I think he wanted to show them because he also had on red sneakers. And he had on a red cap. So his cap and his underwears and his sneakers was matching, so he wanted to show the three of them the matching trio. But when he turned around, he actually looked older than myself after I seen his face stand, you know, after he paid for his gas and turned around and walking back toward the car. I got to see his face, and he actually looked older than myself. But I thought to myself, man, we got old men out here doing that now. Not because you said, father, we got fathers out here, they sagging their pants, or their sons sagging their pants, but the granddad is sagging too. Granddad, everybody's sagging. So I'm not ashamed to talk about that because I agree with you. People are tired of looking. How many grown folk? How many grown folk? Well, you know something? I've even heard some young girls say, I don't like men to sag. I don't like young boys to sag. But how many grown folk have you heard say they are just really tired of seeing these men's tails? I'm tired of it.
My pants sag, but not like that, because I don't like tight pants either.
Well, my pants sag because I don't have much back there to hold them up. But that's not purpose. That's not purpose. But we're going to move on to question number 4. But anyway, the answer to that was, how do we fix it? We fix it with the Word of God. That's how we fix it, with the Word of God. Take the world, or should I say, extract the world from your home and bring the Word in. Extract the world from your life and bring the Word in. Be ye in the world, but not of it. Because he who is the prince of the air came to kill, steal, and destroy, which is the very element of what the Bible is talking about when it talks about the world. It's talking about Satan and his demons who are in a temporary control. A temporary control. And I put emphasis on temporary control. But question number 4 is parents too preoccupied today to properly raise and discipline their children?
I mean, they have a lot going on, and then I'm gonna tell you something. Some of them in the house together, and they still preoccupied because they got stuff going on in there.
Yeah.
You know.
The game.
You know. Well, you know, a lot of females don't really play the game. I know I do, but I don't play it like that. Well, a lot of females really don't play the game. It's, you know, it's mostly a lot of single moms in the home with their kids, but they still have a lot going on. But they really can't be with the kid and properly raise the kid like they should.
What about the cell phone?
I'm saying you talking about the parents on the cell phone.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, on the cell phone. They mostly be on the computer.
Yeah.
The computer, Facebook, take up a lot of their time.
Yeah.
When they should be spending some time with those kids.
Yeah, I agree.
A lot of especially females with daughters, they need to spend time with their daughter. Get off Facebook. Most of them in their bed sleep because a lot of them do work. But you can't let that. You got to be with that kid. The way things are now, you need to spend time with that kid. Uh, but a lot of them working like crazy because they send parents. Now I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt on that part. A lot of them working 2 jobs, and when they at home they sleep. So yeah, they are preoccupied. Now, I give them the benefit of the doubt, but not an excuse. If that make any sense.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Because you have to be there for those kids, especially if you are a single parent. I know it's hard, but you have to be there.
Yeah.
You can't have all this stuff going on and forget about your kids. They been burnt the house down, you in there sleep. You know, but I know a lot of them say, I got to pay the bills. That's understandable. You know, stop letting grandmama watch them kids all the time, though. You know, stop letting your auntie or your sister watch them kids. They're your kids. You know the consequences when you got them.
Yeah, or letting the street race.
Or let on that computer all. The little kids be on the computer all the time now. They know more about mine. Know more about the computer than I do. But I tell them, y'all need to get off that, man. You've been on there long enough.
Yeah.
You know. Well, I talk to mine. You know, I spend time with. I talk to mine. But a lot of folks are too preoccupied to properly raise the kids, the way they need to be raised.
Yeah.
And I understand you single, but my thing is, what about when both parents in the house and they still not getting the proper attention and being raised properly? They in the bedroom together. It's too much of that. I got kids out here, man. Get out here and have a conversation with. Sometimes I just sit mine down and start talking.
Yeah. People don't eat together
They
anymore.
don't eat together no more. Yeah.
Everybody
Just
in their
sit
own
down.
respective
Sometimes I
places.
just put me down and come here, man. We talk. I be hearing heavy breathing. I don't care. We still gonna talk.
Yeah.
You know, I want to let y'all know what's going on. You know, they know how I am. So I do that with mine. You know, I wouldn't be sitting here saying all this stuff if I did. You know.
Yeah, because they might get to see this, right?
Yeah. But other than that, man, people need to, let some of that stuff go they got going on and really pour into these kids. I'm talking about pour some positive stuff into these kids. The word into these kids, but they can't do it if they don't know it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. The generations thing we was talking about, where they weren't taught because their parent wasn't taught, because their parent wasn't taught. Gosh, man, it goes back generations, doesn't it?
Generations, you know. And, you got a lot of people just may not look at God like we look at him. He just a God to them, but he's the God.
Yeah, the God.
The God. You know what I'm
I
saying?
am that I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To me.
Amen.
But a lot of people don't look at it like that.
Yeah. I agree.
think parents need to instill the word in them.
Yeah.
Because whether they want to believe it or not, it does help. It helps those kids. They make mistakes along the way, but it helps, man.
Mm-hmm.
It really do. It helps.
Mm-hmm.
And they listen to you. They'll sit there and listen to me when I talk about this.
Yeah.
It's almost like they like when I have Bible study at the house.
And you can make it interesting.
Yeah. I bought Jonathan a action Bible. I read it a little bit to make sure it was on point now, but got the pictures in it that he'll really, he'll get into.
Something he can relate to.
It got pictures in it. It got him going to war and all that stuff in there. Got Isaiah, like Lego looking Bible. It got the Lego cover on it, but when you open it, it's not like something. But it's like a Lego looking Bible. And they took them to church with them, you know, they try to read, so, you know, I'm mad about that, but you have to spend time with it.
Yeah.
You can't preoccupy yourself with all these other stuff.
Yeah, that's true. I wanted to bring that question: is parents too preoccupied today to properly raise and discipline their children? Is because I feel the same way. I think there's too much preoccupation in the world today. There's too many choices. Yeah, and I know y'all have heard me talk about this before. You can't hardly go anywhere anymore without almost wrecking your brain trying to decide. It wasn't that many choices when I was growing up, so life might have been a little bit easier. But it don't have to be as hard today if people were bringing the proper nourishment to their children. See, when we think about nourishment today, we think about what we're eating physically. But proper nourishment starts with the Word. And children today are not getting the proper nourishment. The parents are not getting the proper nourishment. So, because of the lack of the proper nourishment, the Bible says we are what we eat. So if you eat a lot of this, you're going to be spiritual. If you overlook a lot of this, then you're going to be physical. You're going to be carnal. But I wrote this down. First I wrote work. So you touched on that. I wrote this down, work. Yeah, a lot of single mothers are having to work 2 jobs. Some people are even working 3 jobs. But guess what? You said you give them the benefit of the doubt, but not an excuse. And I agree with that, because guess what? When my twin boys was growing up, they had to go to after school, a positive, let me throw the word positive in there. They had to go to a positive after school program for the duration of the day before work was complete with parents. And that's what parents need to do. You need to find some type of positive program. And there are free programs out there. There are free programs out there that you don't have to pay for. Or if you know somebody that is a positive role model, but you said something about stop letting grandmama take care of grandmama. She's 75 years old, but you still got grandmama babysitting every day, dropping them off all the time. And it has nothing to do a lot of time with work. Even on the weekend, grandmama still got to watch them because you want to go party. All this kind of stuff. So yeah, work, yeah, you give them the benefit of the doubt because they have to go to work, but you don't give them that option of excuse making because you have to work. The reason my son is doing what he's doing, the reason my children are acting the way they're acting is because I got to work all the time. No, there's another way. All you got to do is concern yourself with them and look into some things. Do your homework while you're trying to make them do theirs, but they don't see you doing yours, so they don't want to do theirs. And it's creating a large problem in the household today. And then I put media. Everybody want to be on the computer, their cell phones. You know, people are bumping into poles right now because they can't take their eyes off the phone. They're bumping into one another because they can't take their eyes off the phone. Car accidents because they can't take their eyes off the phone. Media today, social media today is a huge distraction. A lot of fathers are playing these games like this, even if they are at home. They're playing these games, and sometimes some of them don't even work. And they're playing these games 12, 14, 16 hours a day. And your children see that. Yeah. So when they come in from school, other than going concentrating on homework, they go into their room because they got a TV set up in there with the same game, and they're playing these games. And I want to throw this in there also. A lot of these children are learning. I give this story sometimes, and this is a true story. It's not just a made-up story. Person I know, maybe y'all heard me say this before, but a person I know went and bought his son a game called Gone in 60 Seconds. Now this game, initially when it came out, was about stealing cars. Yeah, like the movie. It's about stealing cars. Now, the game has advanced a lot since then. I mean, they're snatching women out of cars now. Man, that game is crazy.
GTA.
Yeah, that game is off the chain. He went and bought his son one. Now his son getting out of school, he's in the room playing this crazy game that he shouldn't even be looking at, much less playing it. Guess what his son did? He went and stole a car. His son went and stole a car. Now, she'll tell you, I have a lot, well, not a lot, but I have several friends that call me for spiritual advice and want a scripture for this, scripture for that, or wanting to pray, or whatever the case may be, something concerning the word. Because everybody that know me know that I'm about this word. And they'll call me with something. So he called me wanting advice and legal advice and all this stuff, how to help his son and all this stuff. And I told him, I said, well, and I know I'm getting a little bit ahead because this falls down to question number 5. But I told him, I said, you are the reason why he stole that car. You never should have went and got him that game gone in 60 seconds and him teaching himself mentally about stealing cars. I said, so you have to bear some of the responsibility of him having gone out there and actually put in motion what you gave him in purchase. You purchased that.
You know what? My kids got that game. Well, Bird got it. I don't allow my kids to play that game until on the weekend, though, because all through the week they need to be focused on school, so they can't play that game until the weekend. But then they different too. Isaiah like Little Big Planet, games like that, Minecraft. I don't know if y'all ever heard of that. No. It looked like a Atari.
I'm not game oriented.
It looked like an Atari game.
I never really played. I haven't played games since you had Donkey Kong.
Yeah. Yeah. But they're a little different. And you have to, that's why you still have to talk to your kids.
Yeah,
I don't deprive them from stuff like that. I just tell them, let me tell you something, man. It's a game. You see how that man got shot and got back up? That don't happen for real.
Yeah.
That man just got shot by 15 times and got back up. If that happened to you, you're not gonna get back up like that. Yeah. It's just a game. It's entertainment. Yeah. You know. So when I stay on, that's why you have to stay on, and you can't be too preoccupied because you have to stay on your
communication.
Yeah, you have to stay on.
Yeah.
I never play games. I don't keep them from playing games. But I also talk to them and let them know you can't do that. We be playing Mortal Kombat. This game called Injustice. With some fighters on it. I said, boy, don't you try to go jump off of those dogs. No, don't you try to do no. I just talk to them straight like that. That's a game. Everything they do, you know. Yeah. I'm not gonna. I tell them I ain't gonna stop y'all from playing it, but
use common sense.
Yeah, this is.
You know
so,
what?
But when you allow them to just do that, and you're not keeping an eye on them, yeah, and you're not explaining it to them, they're gonna do stuff like that.
Like knowledge without discipline.
Yeah.
Knowledge without discipline can be a dangerous weapon. I mean, people who create atom bombs were knowledgeable. Mm-hmm. But to me, that wasn't, I'm talking about worldwide now, that wasn't the disciplined thing to do. People who create nuclear bombs are wise. Yep. They're knowledgeable. But that's not the disciplined thing to do. There's a lot of things that people are wise about and know how to do, have knowledge of. But knowledge without wisdom can be a dangerous tool. It could be a dangerous weapon. So I agree. A lot of times it's not what you do. Now, we know there are some things you just can't do. Yeah. You know, like a certain thing. There's no right. Some things there's no right way to do it. It's just wrong. Period.
Yeah.
But there are some things in this world. It's not how. It's not what you do. It's how you do it. So, like you said, you don't necessarily deprive your children of certain things. But I know there are a lot of things that you do deprive your children of because they just wrong. Because I know you, and I know your wife, and I know your children.
Yeah.
Your children are my great nephews, and I know how you discipline them. But at the same time, you talk to them, like you said.
Yeah.
You talk to them. You discipline them so that the knowledge they are receiving, the information that they receive, the wisdom that they receive, the insight that they receive, all the different words that we can throw in the pot with that, all the things that they're learning from different things, when you discipline them, it minimizes the risk of the atom bomb. We got a lot of atom bombs running around here today, just waiting to explode.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is because of what we're talking about today, the lack of discipline. Fear, and so on and so forth. So I think that was a good coverage right there. But I agree that work, yeah, we give parents the benefit of the doubt for having to work, but not an excuse because there are other things, there are other ways to help and allow your child to be kept by some positive force or some positive situation or program or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
You know. But anyway, we're going to go to question number 5, and we're going to get ready to wrap this up. Question number 5 says, do you think in a lot of cases, and I said that in a lot of cases, do you think in a lot of cases the parents are the child or children's worst example? Remember earlier you touched on that you got fathers out here smoking weed with their kids and they dropping their pants down because the kids are, and the father want to be more cool with his kids than he do a parent to him. So that question once again, do you think that in a lot of cases the parents are the child or children's worst example?
In a lot of cases it is. You know, I don't know if you ever seen this before, and I think you want to turn your Bible to either 22:15 or is it 22 Proverbs?
What book?
Same thing.
Oh, Proverbs
Yeah.
22:15.
Let me see what that says. There
This-
it is. Oh,
this-
you don't read it yet.
Okay.
Yeah, they can be the worst. They can be the worst example for their kids, because it this is what they're teaching them. You don't have to teach your kid to be bad. You don't have to teach your kid to be a thug. You don't have to teach your kids to do things because that's already in them.
Yeah.
You know what the scripture says about it. I thought I was gonna be able to pull it up on my phone.
What you just said, I want to quote a scripture first. It's also in the book of Proverbs. It says a child is born to adversity.
Yeah.
So you're right. You don't have to teach a child how to do wrong. You got to teach them how to do right.
But you got to keep them on straight. You got to keep them on straight. That's your job. You train them up in the way they should go.
Mm-hmm.
And 15 says,
Foolishness is bound in the heart of a child.
okay, so why are you teaching them foolishness?
Yeah. Yeah. When he's gonna learn that
already
anyway.
there.
Yeah.
It's already there.
Yeah.
And you just making it worse by teaching them that. It's easy for them to pick that up. It's easy.
Yeah.
You know, but then what we have to do, but the rod of what?
It says, but the rod of correction shall drive it far from them. Meaning that foolishness can be driven from them with the rod of correction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Amen.
Yeah, they are the worst example. They do anything in front of them, say anything in front of them. And then when they do it, now you want to get mad. You got to be a good example. You got to lead by example. That's how, that's how it goes.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
I agree.
when it come down to your kids. That's how I go. Lead by example.